It was a quiet evening that would soon become one of the most unforgettable moments in entertainment history. The air was thick with anticipation as reporters gathered, cameras flashing, lights blinding, and the world waiting. Yu Menglong's mother, who had remained silent since her son's shocking death, was finally able to speak. Her appearance was fragile yet commanding, her expression a mixture of sorrow, exhaustion, and strength. The moment she took the microphone, an eerie stillness fell over the room, as though time itself had stopped. And then she said it, words that shattered the fragile illusion the public had been holding on to. "My son didn't die the way they said he did." The entire room froze. Every camera lens trembled, every reporter paused mid-sentence. It was a sentence that carried more weight than anyone could comprehend, one that ripped open the wound that many had tried to close too soon. For weeks, the world had accepted the official report of Yu Menglong's death as an accident, though countless fans refused to believe it. There were too many questions, too many inconsistencies, missing CCTV footage, deleted phone logs, and friends who went silent overnight. Now, his mother's words had reignited every suspicion. She clutched a framed photo of her son in her trembling hands, her voice breaking but firm. "He was scared. He told me days before it happened that someone was following him. I didn't take it seriously. I thought it was stress. But now I know, he was trying to warn me." Gasps filled the room. Reporters looked at each other in disbelief. Could it be true that Yu Menglong, one of the brightest stars of his generation, had sensed his end approaching? Madame Yu went on to reveal a truth that no one was ready for. She said her son had left behind messages, voice notes, texts, and a hidden USB drive, indicating that he was being threatened. "He said to me, 'Mom, if anything happens to me, please don't believe what they tell you. Not everyone around me is who they seem to be.'" Her voice cracked with emotion, and in that moment, the entire world seemed to share her pain. The messages told a chilling story. Yu Menglong had felt trapped, by his fame, by contracts that bound him, and by people he thought were friends but who were, in truth, enemies in disguise. He wanted to quit one of his projects, she continued, but his management told him he couldn't. They said his silence was part of the deal. He told me he felt like he was signing his own death sentence. From her bag, Madame Yu pulled out a small brown envelope. Inside were copies of the last contract he signed, a contract filled with strange, controlling clauses. Clauses that forced him to remain quiet even in the face of danger. Clauses that, as Madame Yu claimed, took away his freedom, his voice, and eventually, his life. Reporters leaned forward, recording every word. No one dared interrupt her. She took a deep breath before dropping the revelation that sent shockwaves across the globe. "He told me someone close to him betrayed him. Someone he loved like a brother." Her statement hit like lightning. For years, Yu Menglong had been seen with a tight circle of trusted friends. The public adored their friendship, unaware that behind those smiles, secrets and lies were festering. He said, "Mom, if I disappear, it will be because someone I love betrayed me." I didn't understand what he meant until now. Her tears flowed freely as she recalled the last phone call she ever had with her son. "He called me that night. His voice was shaking. He said, 'Mom, I need to leave town for a few days. Don't ask questions, just trust me.' I begged him to come home, but before I could say another word, the call ended. It was the last time I ever heard his voice." Her words broke the crowd. Some reporters lowered their cameras, unable to continue recording. Then came the final blow. She revealed that a week after his death, she found a USB drive hidden inside a drawer in his study. It contained videos, voice recordings, and screenshots, she said. He was keeping evidence. He was trying to protect himself. According to her, the files showed suspicious messages, threats, and payments between certain individuals, suggesting that her son's death may have been planned. "He knew something was wrong," she whispered. "He wanted to fight back, but they silenced him before he could." But what truly left everyone speechless was the audio file Madame Yu played for the press. It was a recording from her son's phone, taken 2 days before his death. The room filled with the haunting sound of Yu Menglong's voice, trembling but determined. "I know what you did. If you don't tell the truth, I will." The second voice, cold and unshaken, replied, "Then you leave me no choice." And then, silence. Gasps erupted from the room as the reality of what they had just heard settled in. The voice, many believed, belonged to someone the world had once celebrated alongside him. "Madam, you couldn't continue for a few moments." She covered her face, sobbing softly, before speaking again. "I'm not doing this for fame or pity. I'm doing this because my son deserves peace. He was kind. He was good. He didn't deserve to die this way." Her pain was unbearable to watch. The audience, once filled with hardened journalists, now stood silent, some crying openly, others trembling at the weight of what they had witnessed. Moments after the conference ended, the internet exploded. Hashtags like #Justice for Yu Menglong, #Yu Menglong case reopened, and #We stand with Madam Yu began trending worldwide. Fans flooded social media with messages of heartbreak and anger. "He deserved better," one fan wrote. "He gave us so much joy, and this is how they repaid him?" Others began analyzing his old posts, interviews, and appearances, searching for hidden clues he might have left behind. His final interviews were suddenly seen in a different light. His laughter seemed forced, his smiles heavy. People realized the pain he had been carrying all along. Law enforcement quickly responded to the growing uproar, announcing that the case would be reopened for investigation. Authorities confirmed that new evidence had been submitted, including the contract documents, the USB files, and the audio recordings. "We will pursue this case until all questions are answered," an official said. Forensic experts began analyzing the voices, and several people close to Yu Menglong were reportedly called in for questioning. The world watched closely, holding its breath as the truth began to unravel. Meanwhile, fans turned their grief into unity. They held online vigils, shared his movie scenes, and posted old photos with captions like, "You will never be forgotten." His name began trending again, not for the tragedy, but for the legacy he left behind. His performances were filled with sincerity, and his warmth had touched millions. Even in his absence, he continued to bring people together. But the moment that stayed with everyone came at the very end. Before leaving the stage, Madam Yu looked up, her voice faint but resolute. "My son once told me, 'Mom, if the truth ever disappears, promise me you'll bring it back.' Tonight, I am keeping that promise." Her words hung in the air long after she left, echoing through every heart that heard them. The crowd stood in silence. The flash of cameras had ceased. What remained was the sound of quiet sobs and the overwhelming realization that everything we thought we knew had changed. Yu Menglong's death was no longer just a tragedy. It was a mystery that demanded justice. And now, thanks to a mother's unbreakable love, the truth that had been buried in shadows was finally seeing the light.
The world thought it had heard it all that night when Madame Yu exposed the truth about her son's death. But in the days that followed, something even more shocking began to unfold. Her revelation didn't just reopen old wounds, it ignited a storm that refused to die down. The truth was no longer hidden in whispers or buried in shadows. It had escaped into the light, and now it was unstoppable. Just hours after her tearful confession, the internet exploded with chaos. Millions of fans around the world stayed glued to their screens, waiting for updates. The media couldn't keep up with the flood of new information, and the entertainment industry was shaken to its core. Social media feeds were filled with heartbreak, fury, and questions that demanded answers. Who betrayed Yu Menglong? Who silenced him? And how deep did the deception go? Within 48 hours, sources close to the investigation confirmed that authorities had launched a new round of interrogations. Several people connected to Yu Menglong's final project were summoned for questioning, including his former manager, co-stars, and even executives from the production company that had handled his last drama. The leaked reports suggested that evidence found on the USB drive, hidden by Yu himself, had led to shocking discoveries. The files weren't just random notes or screenshots. They contained detailed logs of strange financial transactions, encrypted messages, and a series of recorded calls hinting at a conspiracy far more sinister than anyone expected. Each clip exposed layers of manipulation, greed, and betrayal surrounding one of China's most beloved stars. One particular audio clip, believed to have been recorded secretly during a private meeting, captured voices discussing how to contain Yu Menglong's growing anxiety about the truth. "He knows too much," one voice said. "Then we'll handle it," another replied coldly. Fans across the world were left in disbelief. Could it really be that his fears were justified all along? Madame Yu, despite her frail health, continued to fight with unwavering determination. She vowed to bring her son's story to light, no matter the cost. "They think I'm an old woman who will give up," she told the press quietly, "but they don't understand. A mother never stops fighting for her child." Her courage inspired millions. Messages of support flooded her social media, with fans calling her the Iron Mother and the voice of truth. Meanwhile, mysterious events began to occur around those allegedly connected to the cover-up. Some of them deactivated their social accounts. Others released vague statements insisting they had nothing to hide. Yet, the silence of certain key individuals spoke louder than any denial. The public demanded transparency, and the government, facing massive pressure, promised a full and independent reinvestigation. Entertainment reporters began digging deeper. Old photos resurfaced, showing Yu Menglong with people who now seemed suspicious. Fans rewatched interviews and noticed details they had missed before: the forced smiles, the subtle tension in his eyes, the fatigue behind his laughter. Every frame now told a new story. One fan wrote, "We didn't realize we were watching a cry for help." As the investigation widened, one shocking discovery emerged: a private bank account linked to a shell company that had transferred funds to someone within Yu's circle just days before his death. The authorities refused to confirm names publicly, but it was enough to send the internet into a frenzy. Every fan group turned into an investigation unit, analyzing clues, comparing timestamps, and demanding justice. And then came the biggest twist yet. Reports claimed that Yu Menglong had secretly filmed a confession video the night before his death. The footage, allegedly stored in a cloud account tied to his email, was said to contain his final words. Though the clip has not yet been released to the public, an insider described it as heartbreaking, emotional, and explosive. If proven true, it could completely change everything once again. Through all this chaos, one thing remained unshaken: the love the world had for Yu Menglong. His films, once watched for entertainment, were now seen as pieces of his legacy. Each smile, each tear, each performance carried new meaning. Fans began hosting virtual memorials, lighting candles online, and writing letters to him as if he were still among them. It wasn't just about mourning anymore. It was about protecting his name, preserving his story, and demanding the justice he never received in life. Celebrities began speaking up too. Co-stars, once silent, started posting tributes and calling for the truth. One of his closest friends wrote, "He was the purest soul I knew. If we stay silent now, we betray him twice." That post alone gathered millions of reactions within hours. The world was united in grief and fury. Even as investigations continued, Madame Yu remained the center of it all, a pillar of strength and sorrow. In a recent interview, she said softly, "Every time I feel like giving up, I hear his voice in my dreams telling me, 'Mom, don't stop now. You're almost there.' And I keep going." Her words broke hearts everywhere. She had become not just a mother seeking justice, but a symbol of truth, courage, and unconditional love. Now, as the world watches and waits, there's a new sense of hope. For the first time since that tragic day, people believe justice may finally be within reach. The walls of silence are cracking, and the truth, no matter how painful, is beginning to surface. The story of Yu Menglong is no longer just about loss. It's about revelation, resilience, and the unstoppable power of love. It's a story that reminds us that even when the world tries to bury the truth, it always finds its way back to the light. And as this investigation continues to unfold, one thing is certain: the truth will not die with him. Yu Menglong's voice, through his mother's courage and the unwavering support of millions, has become a storm that no one can silence. This is far from over. What began as heartbreak has turned into a global movement. Fans are waiting for justice. The entertainment world is holding its breath. And somewhere, perhaps beyond this world, Yu Menglong is watching, finally seeing the truth rise from the ashes. Sparkles, if you've been following this heartbreaking yet powerful story, don't miss what happens next. Subscribe now to K-Drama Spark, your #1 home for emotional, dramatic, and breaking stories that move hearts and inspire millions. Stay connected for exclusive updates, shocking reveals, and behind-the-scenes truths that no one else dares to tell. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and join the movement. Because justice for Yu Menglong isn't just a story, it's a promise. Broken Heart Sparkles.